Let's get more reaction on this story now. And we're joined by the spokesperson of the Association of Private Security Owners of South Africa, Sindiswa Changuion. Sindiswa, good morning to you and thank you very much for your time. Let's begin with how you were alerted to this security tender, because my understanding is that you were the people who blew the whistle on it.
Firstly, thank you, Polly, for giving us an opportunity, and good morning to you and your viewers. So, Polly, after a long and a very exhaustive process that we had to embark on in asking for accountability on this matter from the power utility, we welcome the decision that has been taken by Eskom to investigate this matter. Since October 2022, when we get to learn that there was this awarding of this particular contract on an emergency procurement processes that they said that they had embarked on, we actually questioned exactly under which auspices was this particular contract awarded and what informed this contract to be awarded. And we wanted to actually understand even the scope of work that had to be embarked on, that needed to be done in 3 months. And we wrote to Eskom and we requested that we needed to ensure that there is accountability. We wrote to the head of Eskom in terms of security. We escalated the matter to the forensic department. We escalated the matter to the COO. We escalated the matter to the board. And we did not get any joy with regards to the processes that were actually followed and what really informed the awarding of this emergency contract. So
here's where it really gets interesting. You have just mentioned that this was a 3-month contract, 500 million rand. And so this is why you pressed on the scope of work that needed to be done. Have you ever received any response from Eskom in relation to what kind of work was actually going to be conducted for 500 million within 3 months?
The fact that it actually took so long for the power utility to actually react on this particular matter, it actually shows that we had not even received anything from Eskom that indicated that any work for that matter of 500 million was conducted. Collie, if you look at the work that is actually involved, if this project was actually based on the recommendation of that particular report, the intelligence report that said that something needed to be done, if you look at the 3 things that needed to actually be done, one was the covert operation, in which entailed that there had to be some infiltration that had been done from a security perspective on the syndicates that are actually operating in Eskom. Number 2, it had to deal with the systems that had to be put in place by Eskom in ensuring that that talks to the recommendations of the so-called report that was relied upon. The third thing was the deployment of people that are skilled enough to be able to deal with the issues emanating from that particular report. How could that be done in a 3 months period? If you look at the extensive work that needed to be done, that actually started to actually raise alarm from TAPSOSA point of view to indicate that it cannot be 3 months that you are carrying out this work and you are willy-nilly giving out 500 million and you are saying that in 3 months that project had to be carried out. There was something very sinister with regards to this decision that was made, and therefore that's a reason why we demanded accountability. We even escalated the matter for that matter, to the National Treasury, and we got a nonchalant attitude, not only from the National Treasury, also from Eskom. In fact, we did not even receive any response from the board of Eskom when we escalated the matter. The only thing that we did receive was a letter stating that it is within their right to procure under emergency procurement services, those particular services. And when we asked them that in 3 months, what is it that was done in that matter? Because there is still syndicates that are operating in Eskom. There is still things that are actually happening in Eskom from a security point of view that has not been resolved. And we requested that give us information. What is it? Give us tangible information in terms of what was done. Give us something to show.
What was the response?
There was nothing that came forth.
So nothing came forth. Let me tell you what the National Union of Mine Workers is calling for, therefore, the NUM organizers at Eskom. And they are calling for the arrest of the former Eskom CEO, Andre de Ruyter. That prompts the question for those people that may not be aware of the story and its origins. So this would have been a 3-month contract for the value of 500 million rand. Tell us when this contract was awarded, and was Andre de Ruyter still CEO of the company?
According to the response that we received, that nonchalant response that I had alluded to earlier, that we received from Eskom, it was said that it was between, I think from June or to August, if I'm not mistaken. And that the CEO of Eskom, the former CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter, he was still there at the time when this contract was awarded. So for us, that's the reason why we also support NUM's statement in terms of them indicating that there has to be some accountability. It should not only be the head of security that is accountable for that matter. And we also share exactly the same sentiments of the COO as well, that he needed, or Mr. Oberholzer, that he also needed to actually respond, because it's not only one person that actually made a decision that this contract needed to be undertaken, or it needed to be awarded. So we are calling for accountability. People need to account. This is taxpayers' money that you are actually talking about, and for you to fool us, and you are saying that this contract was done, or whatever work that was embarked upon, it took 3 months. We are in the security industry space, or the security space. We understand the work that is involved. We understand the dynamics in terms of operations within security. The risk assessment based on that report that they're actually referring to. We understand those particular processes. And you cannot tell me that the deployment of even those personnel for you to be able to mitigate any particular risk thereof, that it will take you 3 months. It's unheard of.
So here's the counter, and I don't for a second purport to speak for Eskom. In fact, if anything, we did try to invite them to an interview, and they have said they cannot be available at this time. So the counter from them may likely be that, well, police cannot be relied upon. Acts of sabotage continue even after we have raised concerns about the security situation at Eskom. How would you respond? Because I listened to the NUM representative last night, and he seemed to suggest very strongly that police are there to do this work. But the running commentary is that police simply cannot be relied on. How will you respond to that?
Koli, I don't think we should be able to disregard the responsibility and the work of the police in being able to assist in this particular process. Theft, thuggery, syndicates, and everything that has got a detrimental effect on the safety of national key points is all our responsibility, Koli. Eskom should have also reached out to the state security agency, should have reached out to the police, including the private security industry as well, so that we can be able to come up with a holistic approach on being able to deal with the fundamental and systematic challenges of corruption and sabotage that is actually happening at Eskom. And I do not take the story with due respect, that the police, everybody in the police, they cannot be able to entrust the police to be able to carry out their responsibility. I believe that it is all our business as responsible citizens. If we want Eskom to get to the bottom of issues in terms of being able to loot out the corruption, the syndicates, it is everybody's business. It is not only one people, it is not only a one-sided approach and people making a decision that, no, I do not trust this one. It is our business, all of us. Therefore, the security industry and its role has to be informed in conjunction with law enforcement agencies of the country. They are not a law on themselves. We are guided also by that.
Here's a final one, and very quickly, if you can. This tender was issued on an emergency basis, and they may come back and say emergency procurement is provided for in the prescripts. What will your counter be?
Well, there are contracts that have been provided for on those particular merits that you just alluded to earlier. But in terms of how the whole thing was conducted, the whole COVID way in terms of being able to actually do things, that is what we're actually asking them, that we needed more information for us to be able to understand what exactly led them to be able to actually do that. Okay. We do not disregard the fact that they had to embark on this process, but be accountable, be responsible, be transparent, because this will be able to, we can be able to have confidence on you as a power utility to say, you know what, there was some merit for them to be able to undergo this particular process on an emergency perspective. But based on the prevailing issues and the circumstances that actually led to this awarding of this contract, probably there is no way that you could say this thing was above board.
All right. Sindiswa Changuion, let me thank you very much for your time. She speaks for the Association of Private Security Owners of South Africa.